Welcome to Chemistry with Dr. G. In this video, I will be talking about testing for cations. And cations are the metal ions that have the positive charge. And we have two tests we can use. The first one is the flame test, and the second one is the formation of insoluble metal hydroxides. So first of all, what is the flame test? Flame test is the test when you actually put your metal ion in a flame and then it will burn and it will give the flame a distinctive color. And this distinctive color is actually distinctive for each metal ion and you can use it to identify your metal. So you can get a rod and you put it in hydrochloric acid and then you put it in the flame and you can see that the flame will be lightened in a different color for each metal. So if you have lithium ion in your salt or in the solid that you are testing, then the flame will be lighting in a crimson color. If you have sodium, the flame will be yellow. If you have potassium, the flame will be lilac. And if you have calcium, this is going to be orange red or orange. And then if you have copper ion in your salt, then it will give you a green color. The second test is metal hydroxide, formation of metal hydroxide. The fact that why we can use this test for cations is that because some metal ions form form precipitate with sodium hydroxide. So when you use an aqueous solution of sodium hydroxide, and then you can use soluble or a solution of your metal, then some metals will give you precipitate. Some of them have distinctive color as well, and then you can identify the presence of some metals. For example, if you have calcium, aluminium, or magnesium, all of these with sodium hydroxide will give you a white precipitate. Aluminium is even more distinctive because if you add excess of the aluminium, then the solution will turn back into a clear solution. So the precipitate will redissolve and will give you a clear solution. So this is very distinctive for aluminium. Copper is one of the transition elements, and copper can have two different ions because we know that transition elements can have different ions. Copper can have copper 1 plus and it can have copper 2 plus. So this test is for copper 2 plus. So the copper 2 plus, when it reacts, if you have a salt of copper 2 plus and you reacted with aqueous solution of sodium hydroxide, it will give you a blue precipitate. Iron as well is another example of the transition metals, and iron has two different ions. We have iron 2 plus and also we have iron 3 plus. So if you have a salt of iron 2 plus and then you react this salt with sodium hydroxide solution, then it will give you a green precipitate. But if you have iron 3 plus, the different ion of iron at the different cation, that will give you a brown precipitate. So you can actually distinguish between iron 2 and iron 3 plus by using sodium hydroxide and formation of the distinctively colored precipitate. You need to learn and to know exactly how many hydroxide ions will react with your metal because you need to write your balanced equation. For example, if you put the reaction between copper chloride and sodium hydroxide, you need to balance this because copper here have 2 plus charge and it will react with two of the hydroxide ions. So you need to balance your equation. Also, if you react for iron 3 plus, so it's going to be, for example, iron chloride or ferric chloride, and you reacted with sodium hydroxide, then the iron will react with three ions of a hydroxide. So you need to put three sodium hydroxide that will give you the iron hydroxide and also will give you three of the sodium chloride.